Yeah, it's a diet thing. It's like the craze right now.
Right, but she's like I don't I don't think I've ever heard a word to use the word celiac, but she like it is like a medical thing. Whatever. Anyway, she is like she always talking about like how like something has gluten in it, so she can't eat it or she shouldn't eat it and stuff like that. It's
Yo, all this food talk aside, because I haven't eaten yet today.
huh.
Shout out to the guy in chat who's talking about curly fries, because those are the best, legit.
I go to McDonald's only like shit. I don't even know like one out of I don't like
You're cussing a
not
lot today. You
even.
should probably calm down with that a little bit. I think. Are you angry?
That was the first time I did it
Hmm?
because I've been noticing I've been like having to be like God or like
I'm just
she's
saying, a proper lady watches her language is all.
that's not true at all.
No, it's not. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Copa America. We're in the winners match for Group B. One of these two players will get out of the group right here, right now in this best of three. The next one will go find themselves fighting in the finals for the second life, the second slot in this group. Spawning in the top right corner of the map, I know a lot of you guys have been asking for him today, so with my pleasure, I present to you the blue Terran player, Ruff.
The bottom left is the red Zerg. It's Jimrising.
Of course, he's playing for the Chaos Latin Gamers. We've seen a couple of his teammates also playing throughout these tournaments, but Jim always special place in my heart. Actually, what I like about Jim, okay, we'll talk about the series. There's actually some cool, weird stuff in store. I mean, we already see Ruff putting supply deep on the low ground and be the bears to wall it off, but Jimrising, I gotta give him credit for it. He's got some of the funniest humor. I mean, like, he'll be the first guy to call himself a beaner. His stream literally has, like, beans all over it, and his
My
donation
God.
sound is like a can of coins rattling. Like, I actually really love everything about Jimrising. He's a funny freaking dude.
Oh God. Okay, so about the game. If you guys have not seen Ruff before, you might already think he's doing something really, really weird. In truth, not so much. Not for him. This is
Not
kind
for
of a
Ruff.
standard opener for him. This isn't even like a. This is just what he does against Zerg. He does like the low ground build with the wall. It's only not worked out once, and it's because I totally called it right. We saw him do it twice. I was like, one Zerg player just to watch one of these bots and go for like a six pull, and this guy's dead, and it happened.
Right, so here's the thing about this, though. For Ruff, you know, people joke about ways to shut him down. You have to expect the early Hellions out of him one way or the other. And if it's not Hellions, it's Reapers, give or take one or the other. But one of the big things about his play style, you kind of pointed this out too, like he'll play the mech late game if he wants to. He can play bio. But I'll never forget, we cast Ruff versus a player kind of unknown to the world, B-Lord. We actually cast him yesterday on this map in particular, and Ruff had the sickest setup. He had planetary fortresses all over the map. He had siege tanks so sickly positioned, but even then he got crushed in the late game. So while Ruff is a good player and he does interesting things, he is far from untouchable and unbreakable. So while Jimrising is going to have to absolutely work for this series, oh dear, he's going to get that tech lab done quick. There we go, or reactor rather. Because
Yeah,
the
whatever.
Zergling's coming across the map really quick.
Yeah, whatever it was gonna be. Yeah, Jimrising, you know, he didn't go for that six pull, which would have cut Ruff down and like before like a 3 minute mark. He did go for a pull first. Now this is usually to go ahead and deny the command center from finishing, but like not against Ruff, man. If Ruff ain't going for this wall off, he's at least going for like the heli, like the factory first, which is what he did here. So like get a kind of like a waste of an opener almost.
Yeah, I mean, odd, to say the least. The one scary thing for Ruff, though, this is where I don't like the way he builds his production in the front lines like this, is this does become susceptible later on. Normally when you lose a couple depots to like a bust or a roach run by or something, that's fine, it's acceptable, you rebuild them, drop supply, but you can't really afford to lose things like your reactors, like your bigger tech structures. I mean, we oftentimes will criticize about the engineering base being in the front lines, right? But having your factory right up here with a reactor on it can sometimes be equally detrimental.
Yeah. People, one base or two base rather, two base bathing boats just have not been that popular, which is usually what takes advantage of the fact that you have a reactor or something really susceptible in your front, because Hellions deal with it really well. But like, a
Right,
Roach
actually,
Banelang off of two bases, that might been that takes on the reactor, and you want those Hellions. That would be
Well,
a good move.
let's talk about this though. You bring up the Hellions, and we're going to see a couple come across the map. But what Jimrising has is certainly a lot of Queens on the front lines. He had actually brought this one over from the main. He's got the Link setting on top of the ramp because he doesn't want the Hellions running up there. I mean, the thing about Ruff is like he goes for your drone lines. We talk a lot about Terran players who are tentative, but yeah, he goes for the throws.
Jimrising was getting a Roach Warren, but obviously not done quite yet. With only 3 Hellions, yeah, it's not really that scary. The fact that there are slow lings makes this like scarier than it would be, but the 3 Queens is what makes it perfectly defendable.
Yeah, so he holds this off pretty easily. This was kind of to be expected at a Ruff. This is where we start giving credit for like the Siege Tank as the follow-up. Really, if your Hellions get shut down early, you're going to expect Roaches to come marching across the map at some point. So whether he's just going for 1 or 2 or more, I mean, he does play mech, as you pointed out. Either way, he'll be set for the early game defense here, which is nice.
Yeah, what we're probably going to see is him go ahead and... I can't remember the exact build, but basically we should be going into like a really long Overgrowth game if Jimrising doesn't have anything to say about it. Ruff is a player that likes, you know, Overgrowth is a good mech map, and it's good for taking that gold and splitting the map, and that's what Ruff does a lot of the time. He will slap down 2 command centers right now. He doesn't care. I don't know if he will, but he, like, depends on his mood, right? Like, is he in the mood right now?
I don't give a flip. I just had a beer. I'm playing Copa America. 5 CCs. Let's go.
Kind of, actually. Yeah, I feel like that's what Ruff's plan is sometimes.
You'll hang on, though, but to actually take away from that, we actually interviewed Ruff on Copa America during Season 1, and one of the interesting things that came to me is, like, I've always seen Ruff as kind of the YOLO crazy player because of the weird builds he does, but he's actually incredibly thorough. He's very mathematical with his timings. Like, everything he does is very precise, and not so much like caution to the wind as it might seem. But what is scary, he's got this push he's doing right now. This isn't just about doing a little bit of harass or killing even the natural. With a Spire on the way, this is his clock ticking. He has no anti-air, a small handful of Marines at most. Oh, depots are down. It's not full off at the top ramp. That's a bit of a problem. Bit of a problem.
It's a bit of a no. It's a bit of a uh-oh. But he's pushing out, man. He's not doing that slow game that I thought he was. And this is hitting at a really good timing. He was going for fast mutas, which are not very helpful right now. They will be, as there's only 5 Marines. Like, if he gets mutas out, he will clean this push up, but now it's a question of how much damage he's going to do.
I think it's too big of an if, though. I mean, there's no way the tanks get broken anytime soon. The Roaches can't push into this. He's trying to get more Lings up. The Lings aren't going to do anything versus Hellbats. The SCVs are actually trying to repair, but do get sniped off here. And looks like the hatchery is going to stand, which is a little bit shocking. I thought that was going to go down for sure.
Is he really going to push this back without the mutas? Because now, if
he lost a lot of drones for it, though.
He lost a lot of drones. He has three mutas. Yeah, exactly. That's what he makes. He has 3 mutas, but Ruff doesn't have an engineering bay.
No, he's got Thors. He's got all he needs is like 1 or 2 Thors.
He does have a Thor.
Jimrising's on 1 base.
Right. He does have a Thor. I didn't see that on the production tab, so that is enough. Like, if there was 10 mutas, maybe it's a little scary, but even then you SMD pull onto the Thor, and it's not.
Yeah, you can repair a Thor the same way you repair a turret. Keep
exactly. So
you know, the Marines will actually kill probably 1 or 2 of these. Not all of them, obviously, but Tank's gonna knock down that Spire. So Jim's stuck on 1 base with no tech, no money, and a small, well, disadvantage, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, small. This is this should be it for Jimrising, but he's gonna continue playing on just because maybe he knows that Ruff is a mech player. Maybe he'll have like 5 minutes to try and bring back this game. Maybe he like double expands, and you know, I don't know. Ruff takes forever to do a follow-up push, which is it's certainly possible. Mech players just they do need time to get an army back up after an attack like that. I don't. Yeah, maybe.
He's just going, you know what, it's funny actually, behind this Ruff's heavy Thor composition is a bit whatever. If he gets like 5 or 7 Hellbats in with this, all of a sudden he's got that Korean mech pushing force. But, actually, with a small amount of drones all clumped up in the main, smart choice to send some Hellions up here. Doesn't quite get the kills that he was looking for, but the potential was certainly there.
An infestation pit, so maybe 2 base Swarmhosts as well. I mean, they do buy you an awful lot of time.
Like, of all the options he has available, that's honestly probably the least worst.
Yeah. Least worst.
Or I guess, no, least isn't even necessary in that sentence, but still. The point is, the Locust will buy him time versus small amounts of bio that have no stim. They'll certainly work incredibly well versus Thors, who, while they hit so freaking hard, they've got a very awkward rate of attack when it comes to switching targets and dealing with multiple targets at the same time. So, while the Spire is an interesting rebuild, I definitely like the Swarmhost better, but the thing is, Jimrising can't really afford either. Like, he's gonna make like what 6 swarm hosts in total at most, maybe 1 or 2 mutas. Like, he just doesn't have the gas behind this.
Yeah, that's really. I mean, the drone count is just killing him, right? Like it's. He could do so much if this was a normal game with Muta and Swarm Host. It's a very infuriating composition, but with just only like a handful of each, it's not that scary. And Ruff got a surprising amount of Marines. Maybe pretty scared that Jimrising would try and go like full bore with like the Mutas.
Yeah.
Kind of get like the 20 or 30.
It's well, I mean, the Marines. The nice thing about Marines is even without upgrades, and he is going for like weapon upgrades, which I find really cute. But without stim, without combat shields, they bring a lot of DPS to the party. They're not exactly insane like they are with Stimpack, but they still bring a lot. And if they're safe behind Hellbats and safe behind siege tanks, I don't know. I think like, even if it had been a muted transition behind this, had he not knocked down that Spire, I still don't think it would have worked. Jimrising's still down in supply in a pretty heavy way though, and we don't have that extra base out of Ruff just yet. Definitely something, he's just started, would be a good way to accelerate his lead. But I kind of feel like pushing now could work. The longer he waits, the better chance Jimrising actually has enough Swarm Hosts to deal with him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what Jimrising is hoping for. So the mech push would come like at such a certain late time. He would have maybe 10 to 12, maybe 15 if he was really lucky. But with only 6, the 2 pop out, I don't think he's gonna be able to hold this. Nope.
How sick would it be though if you turned this around? I mean, it's just.
We've seen games where like it was a normal game, but the Terran player got like 60 drone kills before the 10-minute mark, and we were like, oh my god, the game is over. But then they did have to wait for so long to push that they got enough Swarm Hosts. So that's why it was like kind of like a 5% maybe. But yeah, just GG's as soon as he sees the army on his screen.
All right, well, game number 1 will go to Ruff. That was just a really nice push. Lots of damage coming down, and again, I want to stress, like, Ruff, he doesn't play quite so wild and drunken boxing as you might think. A lot of what he does is very well thought out, and that push is something I'm certain he's practiced for today. So, Jimrising's gonna have to be very careful with this next match, lest he fall to the finals. Although, to be honest, I kind of feel like both these guys get out of the group. Pretty much guaranteed today.
Guaranteed. Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm gonna meet Cure. How like silly is that too?
I really like this too.
Like,
you and I think like I don't think we would have as much hype for Cure if we didn't see him kick so much ass firsthand, right? Like he's a good player objectively speaking. But when those IEM qualifiers, like, we just got to follow him and watch him kick everybody's ass. Like,
yeah, and he might be a rural roader. Rural juror.
Oh my god. Best 30 Rock reference. Best, most appropriate 30 Rock reference ever. She was trying to see Royal Rotor, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
Because that was not clear.
Royal Rotor. I got it. I can't say drivers, dinings, and dives without taking a long time either.
I can't, there's just some words. My mental block is, I can say this if I say it slow, but I can't say it fast. Vietnamese. But anytime I try and say it smoothly as one word, it comes as Vietnamese. Like, I can't get the M and the N correctly.
Are you for real?
I'm not. My God. I don't have dyslexia. I don't have any brain problems.
It's just a good thing, it's Koreans, not the Vietnamese, who are dominating StarCraft.
Yeah.
You'd never start casting. You'd be too embarrassed.
We got the Vietnamese player, Cure. No, I can't. I don't know. It's just one of those words. Like, it's the only word I've ever struggled with like that. Like, I could do tongue twisters like toy boat. She sells seashells by the seashore and all those things, but I can't say that one word. Or apparently the Olima League. That was another hard one.
Oh.
Olima League. But anyways, we're in the lobby for Foxtrot Labs, folks. We're just waiting for all the casters to get in here, and then we'll get underway here for game number 2. I don't know. Don't you have any like weird words you can't say? Like,
all the time. Well, I have that
other
problem.
than Royal Rotor.
I actually have a problem where it's just like, I guess I learned how to read them before I learned how to say them, so I'm constantly mispronouncing words. And people make fun of it all the time, and it kind of gets like infuriating after a while.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because before I ever heard Hermione's name spoken,
Oh, like oh
I
my God,
read
that's
it
the
as like
worst.
Hermione or something stupid.
Oh,
Like,
seriously.
it wasn't
that's-
Hermione. That's for sure.
Okay, that's just like that is like doubly infuriating when it's like a fantasy name and people make fun of you for saying it wrong. Like the Wheel of Time had it like I thought Egwene would be pronounced Egwene. And like when I said that to my friends, they're like, "Do you mean Egwene?" And I'm like, "I guess," but like, you know, how the hell is I supposed to know that? Those are infuriating. But just like regular words that you just they look and you pronounce them how they look in your mind. Like I don't know. People always like making fun of me for saying stuff wrong, and I'm like, well, I probably learned it at an early age, and you did. I'm just saying, probably learned when I was like 8 because I read like Wheel of Time when I was 8.
Yeah.
So F you, buddy.
Just to address this before we hop into it, was Widow Mines in chat says, yeah, perfectly usable, unused green screen behind him. For those who don't know, I've been talking about this all week on Base 3 TV. I ordered some new lighting. I got some professional lighting this time because the previous lighting kit I was using was a combination of wax, paper, and $5 lamps from Walmart. Does not cut it after a certain amount of time. And for those who don't know, one of the key things about a green screen, it's not the actual green screen, but the lighting behind it. So if I can't even get my chroma key to work right now, not without proper lighting. So that's why I'm not using it. I will totally have fun and abuse it and stuff in the future, but anyways, that's unimportant because we're in game number 2 of the winners match. Spawning in the bottom right corner of the map, playing for the Chaos Latin Gamers, it's going to be the Red Zerg player, Jimrising.
He never left. Taking the first game. As the Blue Terran, it's Ruff.
I'm hoping for Reapers on this map, just specifically because of these spawn locations. He's got the back cliff to abuse. When Ruff goes Reapers, we get some pretty fun stuff. But at the same time, he's got to take this somewhat seriously. Like, yeah, you're up 1, it's the winner's match and all these other wonderful things. But you're playing against Jimrising. This is not a player you get to screw around against.
No, but
Well, our definition of screw around and Russ's definition of screw around.
I know, right? Right. Yeah, like Rifkin was totally correct about we did that one interview and he said that he just likes to think things out really, really hard and thoroughly. So he talked about how getting a +1 weapons was sometimes better than the combat shields for etc. reasons and whatever. And that's really cool. And just talking to him because he kind of comes to DC lands. It's the same thing. It just doesn't look that way, right? It just looks like he's whatever.
It actually kind of shocked me too because he was I'm trying to think how to phrase without sounding mean. He was talking a lot, and that wasn't exactly something expected. You hear Ruff on his stream, and he's not exactly a motor mouth, right? But in the interview, he was so excited to talk specifically about how he was all about numbers and
it's
such.
The same thing in real life for sure. He won't come and talk to you, won't be buddy or anything. But you talk to him about StarCraft, and he'll talk. Yeah,
I got some stories. I seen some stuff.
Oh well, I haven't really talked with him myself that much. But I just remember people that I knew talked to him, and I would look over at the table, and he'd be silent for a majority of the time, and then suddenly I'd look over and he'd be just totally animated. That's what I was looking for.
I thought you were gonna say anime for a second. I'm like, what is he, a dating simulator
I was
guy?
actually about to say animatronic, and I'm like, that's not the right word.
Animatronic. Ruff confirmed a robot, guys, controlled by graphics and lights attached to another person.
Oh, exactly. Okay, we got double Rex Reaper, by the way, with 2 reactors.
So this is what I was kind of hoping for. To explain a little bit about this, on a map like Foxtrot Labs, there's a lot of ways to abuse the cliff. There's a lot of different cliffs to abuse, and more importantly, there's even a back step you can sneak in and out of. So Reapers are already painfully annoying to deal with as is, even if you have speed on your lings, but it's worth noting Jimrising is only just taking his gas. So he's not going to have that really... Or, actually, no, I take that back. Sorry, I didn't realize he had already started this. My bad. Looked at the gas wrong. The point is, even with speed, when you've got enough Reapers, this is still hard to deal with. Because Reaper DPS is not horrible. They're just not sustainable units. So usually they die before they get a chance to deal some damage. And, did you know that this said Leet? I didn't even know that. Easter egg.
Good job, bro.
Yeah, ADD.
Good one. Whoa. Awesome. Yeah, anyways. 4 Reapers at a time might be pretty alarming, but Jimrising does see it now.
Well, here's what I'm really curious about the 4. I've seen 5, or well, not 5 racks, but like 2 racks reactive, 1 extra racks for the 5 Reaper production, and that works out pretty well. Right now for Gymno, what he sees is a standard thing. Like, oh, you've got 2 Reapers? Okay, welcome to ZVT, right? You're gonna follow us up with Hellions? Come at me, bro. But really, it's 4 more Reapers pumping out like crazy. This Overlord, I don't know if it actually sees them. I'm really curious if it does. It might see 1 or 2, but I mean, that's hardly the 6 that are gonna be in play. Alright, so Zergling's getting picked off here pretty quick. It's worth noting that about 6 Reapers is that sweet spot for killing queens, as we see. Goes down here pretty quick. Oh, Jimrising, though, pulls that back. A bunker is being erected behind this. Kind of a safe spot to hide from those Zerglings, I guess.
Oh my god. Jimrising just, I mean, this Bailey list is not only for like a potential bust if necessary, but
Need a dispenser here.
He's just gonna go ahead and like all in after this, like 100% sure.
Yeah, Bailings are an interesting choice to see as a response. As we see cutting around these lings, though, like even if you got speed, it doesn't matter if you still lose all your Zerglings before they get touched.
If you have 8
anything.
Reapers, they're surprisingly good. Oh, but he all gets around it. He tries to go for the queen.
He got really
no.
greedy for that. That was a big throw right there. Almost.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if he can recover from that because Reapers are a unit that snowball hard. For those who don't know what that means, basically, if they doing good, they're gonna do real good, and if they do bad, if you lose a couple, you're actually screwed. Oh, no cancel on that bunker. Ruff, on the other hand, does lose the other Reaper yet standing. It's not a good spot for him to be in, not at all. This was something that was going to get out of hand. It was something that I think was going to easily win him the game, but Jimrising coming in with a Bailing bust. Yes, there's 3 Reapers, but that's also too many Zerglings for 3 Reapers to deal with.
Oh, look what he's doing.
He's
it's
dancing.
It's like a ritual.
Yeah.
It's
the Bane Rain dance, you know? This other Zergling's moonwalking as well. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one. Okay, so it comes in here, kills everything, all the depots, all the reactors, and well, it'll have to be some fancy Reaper micro to hold this off. Oh god.
Well, I guess he's in the Banelings is always not a fun thing to do, but Ruff is going to lose everything.
Yeah, so that's pretty much game. I don't even think he can hold with his Reapers. You know, maybe he can. The Kyra in a cutting position. The SCV is blocking off his lings, but it's like, what are you really holding?
He can go to the high ground too. Like I don't.
Well, now he can. Originally the Reapers are there, or the lings are there.
He actually reestablishes a wall off, so it only costs him almost every single worker available. But
yeah, you know, no big deal. No big deal.
NVD.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
No, I'm actually really excited about this because if Ruff, he probably. I don't know, Jimrising could just, I feel like, throw all in after all in and eventually break him. But, like, should Ruff actually win this game, A, that's pretty epic. But should he lose, it'll give us game 3. And like I said, I was really excited to see this series in general. Because there's very few players who can hold up to what Ruff does. And Jimrising, I mean, already, this is, ooh, not enough. Oh, is he gonna repair that time? Get to the engineer bay.
Oh, no, before the engineer. Oh, okay, he's good.
Wasted.
He's good. It's just but does it matter? I mean, or Jimrising did a Roach Warren, and I'm really surprised he had to go for the Banelings, because if he got in for Roaches, like, Ruff's never leaving the base, okay? So he may not be able to push up into this really thick wall, but he's like not leaving the base with Reaper Hellion against even 6 Roaches.
I don't know, I got a lot of faith in Ruff, but I mean, like, what are his options really? Like, his economy is so bad, he can't really go for, like, Banshees at this point, which would actually be fantastic. He can't really afford to go for a push before Jimrising gets time to get Mutalisks out. I mean, Jimrising is breaking down the rocks comfortably to take a 3rd. I kind of feel like on this map, he could actually have afforded the gold with the way this is open for him.
And Ruff isn't even going into mech. He's still producing a lot of Reapers. Like,
actually, I kind of like this. Because this will mix with a few amount of Hellions he has and give him the greatest potential to actually deal some damage. But even then, it's not going to be enough. There's just too much that Jimrising has.
Yeah, I don't know, because if he was going for mech, and he did get 2 factories, so he was even planning on it, we could go back into the whole, like, well, mech, you know, is good defensively, and maybe you can get up to 2 bases and kind of turtle your way to an even game, but this composition does not have that option. Like, there's no turtling with Reaper Hellion.
Well, the Overseer is going to see what's here. And it's going to be smiling because what is here cannot shoot up. And, yeah, so Vitas are a great choice.
Yeah, I thought I heard a scan somewhere. Maybe I misheard, because he still has not seen this fire or anything new from Jimrising's base. it just like what situation would just purely Reaper Hellion be good against? If Jimrising only had Lings and Banelings, maybe. But then you have to assume if he's going for Lings and Banelings, Mutas will eventually be coming. So
I think he can actually beat the Roaches currently in the middle of the map.
yes,
At that little bit, but not with the Zerglings here.
well, once he's here, the Lings, yeah, because that's a big of a deal with the Hellions there, and Jimrising will have to maybe dance a little bit more than you would expect, but
dance if you want to, can leave your friends behind.
this is just, oh my god, the 12 Mutas on the way, oh my god.
So yeah, all right, back in this game. I mean, like Ruff is, I think he knows, sure full well, when you lose 22 SCVs early, you don't have a 3CC opener. There's not really coming back from this, but he's still playing it out. He's still gonna try and do something, and it's one of those situations where, like, even if he loses, he's gonna go out with style.
I just, okay, now it's GG timing. Come on, it's gotta be like, what do you have?
Yeah. Okay, game number 2 goes to Jimrising, tying the series up 1-1, and send us into game number 3 on what I believe is Catalina, the wine mixer.
The what?
Catalina wine mixer.
Is that a thing?
It's not Vigro.
What?
Are you not going to the Catalina wine mixer?
No.
Alright, never mind.
What?
So, coming up next, I mean, the thing is, like, this is the ace match. Instead of 1-1 now, one of the big things is, of course, who goes to the winner's match, who goes to the loser's match. But the reality is, like, as goofy as this kind of seems with, like, a Reaper build or whatever, I mean, that was Ruff's, like, leeway of having a series up on his opponent. The map itself definitely lent to the possibility of having that work, but coming up on Catalina, I don't know what he's going to really try and do versus someone like Jimrising. But the one thing that's really nice is we've seen a lot of abuse through the cliffs. So again, the potential of Reapers, but less likely, I feel, on Catalina than, say, Foxtrot Labs. Would like to see some proper mech out of Ruff, I think, for this ace match.
Yes, some proper mech, with the PX.
Okay. And when I say proper, I mean, like, a game that extends past the 10-minute mark.
Nah, I actually really enjoy it. I mean, and I don't enjoy when it's, like, obvious that they're gonna lose. Like, I don't know, it's kind of like, why are you in this game still? But I do enjoy these, like, really weird, like, feisty.
Yeah, I mean,
moxie.
We were talking about it before we started casting today. I mean, one of the things that's kind of nice is, like, okay, you get a lot of these Copa America games that you kind of know how they're gonna go, and we're casting them, and we're not trying to, like, add too much fake fluff to it, but, like, you gotta fluff it up a little bit. But the nice thing is, like, when we get to watch players like Ruff play, like, it's easy as Terran players to get genuinely excited because you're like, that's so weird, but it's working, so it's really cool. But Jimrising's shown that he's got the stuff. Although, I keep saying that, but I kind of feel like a lot of that game was like, yo, Ruff, why did you get greedy for that queen, right? Like, ugh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's so weird to think of that, because it's like, how often is being greedy for one queen, like, the difference between, like, the end of a game? Like, maybe a 2-act in some scenarios,
well,
but, like...
that time it was.
Yeah, but that time, it definitely was. Yeah.
Well,
Why didn't he just... Never mind.
Well, we'll see how this one goes. I am, once again, very curious to see just how it's going to play out. Because one of the things, of course, comes down to the fact that it's Jimrising, it's Ruff. They're both getting out of this group at this point, I'd say. Nothing against Sealer, but I just kind of feel like they're both, after that first series, that, yeah, it doesn't matter if Ruff or Jimrising falls to the finals. I think it's pretty safe to say they're both going to make it to the round of 8. Part of me always wants Ruff to make it to the finals and lose to Jimrising here, just because I feel like his Reapers will deal with Sealer faster than Jimrising. That's really BM, and I fully accept it. I'm sorry to Sealer for saying that.
I totally agree.
I kind of feel like that's the case.
It was like, Jimrising wasn't being BM or, like, too afraid. It just, like, you saw how, like, resilient he was in that second game, even when it was, like, totally over. It's just, like, it's sometimes Terran really surprised you. But it's, like, yeah, I feel like Ruff would be able to kill him before 10 minutes if it were similar situations that happened. We don't know. Maybe, like, the guy's TVT is a lot better than TVZ. Well,
focusing on the series at hand, it is game number 3 for Copa America. It's the winner's match of Group B. And if you're just tuning in, well, we got one more best of 3 following this. Spawning in the top right-ish corner of the map, it's going to be our blue Terran player, Ruff.
In the bottom right, it's the red Zerg. It's Jimrising.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about what could potentially come down on this map. Again, the terrain really plays, I'd say, to the favor of Ruff, but we're focusing so much on Ruff playing weird. How sick would it be to see Jimrising go full life and just, like, Nidusworm, like, right over here?
Oh.
Just that sweet spot on the map.
Honestly, you really should. It just, I don't know. Will it do better against Ruff style?
I just feel like Ruff would be one of those guys who's like, oh, my Reapers are on the other side of the map, and there's a Nidus from my base, like,
right?
question
I'm
mark?
like wondering, and like, okay, consider also the fact that if this is another map where he goes ahead, well, it was gas first, whatever. If he was going to go for the natural wall too, that would be a good build against the natural wall as well. So, yeah, I think Nidus from in general would just be a good build. Oh, well, I don't know if he's really going to do that. Really, when I think of something weird, I think of Jimrising things like Mutas or like his other timed Lings. Not like, that's why like you say weird Jimrising, but like kind of like with a like an asterisk or whatever.
Yeah, because it's more like he just goes too heavy on units that normally don't work. Jimrising is a guy we've seen beat back Terran players who goes, I think I tried the cast to describe it as like his dessert before his dinner. Like he never went for the Mutalisks, he just went straight Lings, 3/3 adrenal glands, Banelings, and it's like, okay, this is kind of working, but not really. It's a strange style, but
yeah. We'll see what he does. He does go for a pull first with a gas. Ruff gets an engineering bay block down, which isn't common, but you know, Flash used it a couple of times, so obviously everyone like knows it. Yeah, right? If Flash does it, it must be a trend.
That's what the cool kids tell me.
Yeah, exactly. Although honestly, Flash has done it for a while. Last time I remember seeing it was on Cloud Kingdom, which was either that one tournament that had Cloud Kingdom or back when Cloud Kingdom was in the ladder map pool. I can't remember which one it was.
Oh, assuming next season?
Oh, I hope not.
I really hope it wins.
I really hope the older ones win, honestly. Because the ones that I didn't really get to play on, I just remember them, but I don't really like remember them. You know?
I know, it's like I'm really scared we're gonna get all the maps that were never like the Belcher messages and whatnot, right? Like the ones we've seen a million times.
Tweet. Right, you see my tweet where I'm like, I'm all about this tournament with old maps, so when it comes to a ladder map pool, I'm like a big pussy about it. I think what would have been more legit is if we did have that tournament before this was even brought up, you know? Like, so people would be able to be like, oh, I saw this on that tournament, and it's not OP. Like, or, oh, I did see this on this tournament, and this Blink Golem is totally OP on this map.
Well, you see that, but I mean, at the same time, like all those show matches we posted prior have always had like a couple of weird maps mixed in, right? Like
not enough. No, I mean they had like the lava map pool, which isn't the same.
Yeah, but we've definitely used Cloud Kingdom, Newkirk, and one time we had Metropolis.
Not since it's, no. It's not the same, right? We never had like Crossfire or like Scrap Station or Belcher Beach. You know, we never had any of those. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Belcher Beach was one of my votes, by the way. I've always liked that.
Yeah, I like Belcher Beach. It's such a nice map. It's so pretty.
You say it like a Jewish mom screaming at her kid, but I agree, 100%.
And you can make it into a winter version. Oh, it's the best.
Well, that was will be interesting. We'll see.
You put a lot of view bots
they'd have
on
to. Well, they'd have. That's so dumb. I will not condone that behavior, Zombie Grub. But one of the things about it, though, like a lot of those old maps they're planning to bring back, they definitely have to go back and like, you know, put the destructible rocks, or not destructible rocks, the plates and stuff at the bottom of the ramp to prevent like the 3 pylon walls, because that was Belcher Beach's like biggest thing. You could fully wall that off.
Yeah, I have to imagine all the earlier ones too have that same problem. All right, so we have a push out finally coming in here. Ruff did go for a 1-base Hellion build. He's also getting Banshees with it as well. Jimrising scouted this, got a Roachborn. They able to do the Hellions. What about those Banshees? Like,
I really like that he pulled all the drones back to the main already. Katz is like literally the only other player we see do this on a regular basis. Where you're like, all right, you know what? I'm not gonna risk anything here at the natural. He's not gonna have the fighting power to really hold this off with these queens alone, so he's gonna have to pull these back and the roaches get involved and start taking those hits. Queen is going to die.
This is really important. Like, Jimrising might be willing to lose the queens because the roaches will clean this up, but he isn't considering the Banshees.
So Banshee can kill the queen outright, so right now he's in a lot of trouble. He's making 2 more queens, which is good, but there's no Spore Crawlers, there's no fast mutas coming out. All the drones are in one place, but cleans up all the Hellions, so at least there's only one problem at a time he has to worry about.
Yeah. If Ruff had Cloak, I'd be like, oh god, this is so bad. But he will. You know, this might be still really bad. Jimrising doesn't have any money.
But
like usually you're able
Ruff
to hold
is...
this off for a long time, and you're able to go ahead and get a bunch of sport crawlers down.
Right. But I mean, Ruff's on one base. Normally, when you do this, you expand.
Don't go for that drone. No, why'd you do that?
Greed hurting Ruff once again. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, normally when you do the Hellion Banshee opener, you go for the expand. Ruff does a style so that he gets the Hellions and the Banshees out slightly sooner and hits at a slightly earlier timing. And as we see, scary and deadly. But he doesn't have the macro behind this. He certainly doesn't have the income. Like, we're talking about Jimrising not having cash. Ruff's in an even worse spot.
Well, when I said that, I meant he literally had none. Like, he was down to 15 minerals and he wasn't mining. So I was worried that he wouldn't be able to put any more spore crawlers up, but that obviously was not the case.
Breaks the reactor. SCV's on hold position. I mean, the Banshee's going to clean all of this up. This isn't the end of the world for Ruff, but he's already on a low econ situation. One base, no second CC dropping mules. Every SCV he bleeds out here is actually a lot more detrimental than normal.
Focus fire the roaches.
I know, it's killing me watching like some of these roaches. Like, there we go. There we go.
Oh, that hurt good. Okay, I like Jimrising's response here. He got a really great scout, so he saw that another one base all-in is coming with these 2 barracks and no command center. Goes for fast mutas, I think. He is only on 1 gas still. He should be throwing down more. Because what else are you really gonna get? And if you get these fast mutas, sure, Ruff is getting 2 more barracks, so he's not gonna be marine-less. It's just like so much of the power is in the Banshees and the Hellions, not the Marines. Or maybe just roach speed? Like, what's with the other gases not being taken? There we go.
Well, Ruff, hold up. He's got a couple of Banshees. The DPS on these things is pretty fantastic. He still doesn't have Cloak, though, which really sucks. So, I mean, there's Spore Crawlers up, sure, but there's no hold position in that sweet spot, picking off all the extra queens. He doesn't have the 3-port production that we're, so used to knowing Ruff for. It's going to be very difficult for him to get back in this game. And I kind of feel like as long as Jimrising plays standard from here on out, he's good to go.
Yeah, I think he's... Yeah, I really think he's going to win this. Again, the other opportunity for Ruff is to find a surprise timing with a bunch of Marines.
Oh my god, can you not call a game early? I hate when casters do that. It's my #1 pet peeve.
You'll get over it. That's my response to almost every single thing ever. Like, whenever I see, like, can casters please ... whatever the ending is, I just want to, like, go into the Reddit thread and be like, you'll get over it.
Yeah, like, they're there.
Because it's not like we don't watch casters too, And it's like, yeah, I guess, once or twice is kind of annoying, but, like, I get over it. Like, maybe you should too.
Alright, so the Spire is coming out here, and once he's got those mutas, he'll be in a pretty fantastic spot. So it's worth noting, though, Ruff is going bio behind this, not mech, so
yeah,
these mutas will not be the rollover win that they were in the past. However, the Banelings will still be a problem. And that Overseer, jeez.
It's in a lot of production. I mean, neither player has a lot of production. That's what we're used to seeing. Jimrising's on 3 base, Ruff isn't quite on 2. It's weird. But Jimrising just has control of the game so far. And he already faced a guy who tried to do, like, some weird timings to win a game, That's what Sealer tried to do. And it didn't work. Jimrising was totally prepared.
Poor little Sealer.
Yeah, don't be degrading now. I mean,
no, it's just, he's like the little engine that could, the little Terran that could,
God.
like.
Yeah, that's not, yeah.
Alright, so the Banshee goes back for poke, nothing found. We got some Spine Cars coming up at the front, expecting more Hellions to run by, I guess, a little bit later, but that's not going to be the case at all. I guess that is one of the problems for Jimrising. He hasn't recognized that it is going to be a bio build. I mean, he sees 2 tech labs on 2 Raxes. I mean, he's got to be scratching his head like, wait, what? But this, of course, is so that Ruff could get his combat shields up at an appropriate timing instead of having to wait that extra 2.5 minutes. But coming across the map with these drops, I mean, these are going to be upgraded. The timing is going to be really nice for this.
Yeah, 20 lings did just pop. Well, I thought they did. Maybe not. Okay, so he has a couple of roaches, a lot of queens. Honestly, with the queens are gonna add a lot to this, and he does not drop out of range of his spine crawlers. So these spine crawlers are now gonna help out. Yeah, I would have heard the drop in the main. That would have done more damage.
Yeah, or at least abuse the cliff against, say, the coming lings and such. But with the mutas out, he's got to be careful with these medevacs. Banelings coming down, catch the Marines as they spawn out of the medevacs, and of course, one at a time, do get picked off. G-grats. Alright, so Ruff will follow the fight against Sealer for the final spot in the group. The last best of 3 of the night. Jimrising will take this series. Big congrats to him, 2-0-2.